All right, welcome back, everybody. So this has been a bit of an experience. What we're going to be doing for today is we're going to start a new unit, which is about circles. We're not going to be able to cover as much about this as we would if we were actually in a classroom, which is fine. I'm going to discuss it with Ms. Coper and make sure that you guys get everything covered that you need to get covered. But we're starting a new unit today, and this unit we're going to start by doing some review of circumference and proportions, which means it's slightly different than the way I would have covered it because it's very difficult for you guys to understand what I'm trying to go over when you're not in the classroom with me and you can't ask questions right away. So anyway, we're going to start with just a review assignment here. We're going to talk about circumference and proportions. So I want you to take notes on this video, and then there is a small paper assignment that you can find on Google Classroom. When you do that assignment, you can either do it on a piece of paper and then snap a photo and send that photo in as your response. You can start a Google Doc and write all your answers in a Google Doc and then share that with me. Or if you have been getting paper assignments, I'm going to send a paper assignment home with it too. So, all right, let's start with a bit of a review here. So the circumference of a circle is the distance. Ooh, that's misspelled. Still misspelled. It's the distance around a circle. For any circle, the circumference is equal to the distance across the diameter of the circle times pi. And that's true for every circle. If you take any circle at all, find the distance across and multiply it by 3.14159, you then have the distance around, which is kind of weird to think about. If you think of a cylindrical object, the distance around is 3 times larger than just the distance across. Most people don't quite get that, and it's one of those things that I have to kind of go over a lot, but it's okay. So let's talk about how this shows up. There's 2 different ways this formula shows up. One of them is that the circumference, C, is equal to diameter D times, I'm just going to write out the word pi, but maybe I'll do the actual symbol here. Pi. So circumference is diameter times pi. The other way that you will usually see it is that circumference is equal to 2 times the radius times pi. I don't like writing it this way, and I don't like teaching it this way, but I'll go over it just to make sure that you guys are comfortable with it, because I think it's better for you to remember it as diameter times pi. And when we talk about area, I cannot tell you how many times in the last however many years I've been teaching, when I've asked a student what's the area of a circle, how many times they say 2 pi r squared, because they kind of conflate the circumference and the area together to make a formula that's neither. So I'd rather you guys think of the circumference as the diameter, the full distance across, times pi. Now, you can multiply pi through, or you can leave it in terms of pi in this class, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So looking at a circle here, oops. Do I have to pull it in? Okay, weird. So looking at a circle here, if I know that it has a center and I know what the radius is, so in this case I'm going to say that this radius is 6 feet, and you're looking for the circumference. Well, if the radius is 6, then the full distance across is 12, which means the circumference is equal to 12 times pi. And you can multiply it through, or if you were to answer just as 12 pi feet and not multiply through at all, I'm totally fine with that. But if you go to the trouble of multiplying it through and get, I don't know, 37 point something, is totally fine by me. Either way, just if you're going to multiply it through, make sure you round to 2 decimal places. Okay, so that's circumference. The other thing we're going to review is proportions. And this is going to become important for the next lesson, which will also use some of that radical stuff we've been dealing with. So a proportion. A proportion is a comparison of 2 things using 2 different ratios. I know that we've covered proportions in this class before, but I just kind of want to review them really, really fast. If we have a proportion set up that is, say, 5 over x, and I set that equal to say 8 over 15. Getting a little bit better with this mouse thing, but it's still not great. To solve this, you're going to cross multiply. And I know some of you guys have done the cross multiplication as these kind of butterfly wings, which is totally fine. So if I do 5 times 15 on one side, that's 75. And if I do 8 times x on the other, that's 8x. And then divide both sides by 8. And then x is equal to 9 3/8, or 9.375. And then that's it. Okay. These are your notes for today. You just have to go through this, and then there is a short, I think it's 8 or 10 questions on Google Classroom for you to go over that have this. And then when you're doing those, you can either do it on a piece of paper, take a photo, and then submit that, or you can create a Google Doc and share it with me. Or like I said, if you're getting paper assignments, you can do the paper assignment. So I hope this finds you well, and let me know if you guys have any questions.